Welcome to Live Free. I'm Angela K. Austin. Together, we'll discuss books, we'll explore the world, and we'll do it with some of my closest friends. And hopefully, we'll make new ones along the way.
All right. All right. Hey, everybody. I am Angela K. Austin, and today I am here with Madam Heather Ray. Say hi to everybody, Heather.
Hey, everybody.
All right. So, guys, I'm going to tell you, you guys know that like 99.9% of the people that I have on this channel are people that I have met from the indie circuit, just people I've met because I've been out and about at events, and Heather Ray is no different. But let me tell you, I think, Heather, I can't remember if the first time I met you was at the IRAE. I'm going to assume that it probably was in Florida. Yes. With Kasana DeWitt. But let me tell you guys, let me put my business out there in the street. But one time at one of these events, let me just say Heather Ray dared me to do something. I did it. And all I'm going to say is, don't be challenging me, Heather Ray. Don't be challenging me. Because I don't back down. Is all I'm saying. We put my business out there, but you know what I'm saying. But anyway, I have just absolutely adored Heather. She's just been such a cool person to get to know over the past few years. And I thought it would be such an awesome thing to have her on the show and talk with you guys, not only about books and writing, but about travel, because Heather travels so much. And I think I remember one time texting her or something and saying, if you show me one more picture of your feet on a beach with beer, I'm coming. So I just had to get her on here, guys. So Heather, before we get started talking about your books and traveling, because you guys know I have to talk about traveling, tell everybody just a little bit about just who you are and why you started writing.
Well, I'll start with the why. I was in middle school and going to Catholic school. And we had these electives that we had to pick from. And I had taken a creative writing elective. And I remember they played music, and it was like classical music, and you just had to, close your eyes, think about the music, and like write what you were feeling, kind of like an old school way of journaling. And I loved it. I liked it. I liked the way it made me feel. I liked just like tapping into, a creative side. So from then on, I always wrote little stories. And I remember being in high school, I used to always carry this notebook around with me that had all these little stories. It was kind of like fan fiction, you know what I mean? And I was very protective of those stories. Like I would never let anyone read them because that was like my thing. But at the same time, I didn't want to, because kids are cruel. So if you have this like hobby where you're like writing these little stories and things, like people can be mean and poke fun at you and everything. So I didn't want that. And, but I continued. And it was probably a couple years ago, I had actually entered one of my stories on an Amazon contest. It was like an upcoming new author contest or something. And I remember the story had actually placed in the semifinals, and which, to me, I thought was amazing because that was like a worldwide contest. And that story I've actually never even published as a book yet. So, that got me out there, and, it's enjoyable. I enjoy it. It gets me away from reality. I like to tell stories, and I like to share it because it might make somebody else enjoy it and get away from whatever is bringing them down in their daily life. So that's my why. And so I grew up in Pittsburgh, outside of Pittsburgh, and I currently live in Central Florida. I have 3 adult children, 4 grandbabies, 2 crazy dogs, and yeah, that's me. I have a day job, well, night job, but we'll talk about that later. And that's it. That's me in a
Wow.
nutshell.
I cannot believe that you entered an Amazon contest, came and made it to the semifinals, and never published the book.
Yes, right?
It's like that's like that's what you do. Like you get the title and then you publish the book with the title on it, so people can be like, "Yay!" Are you ever going to publish that
And I'm like, I don't know, maybe one day. It's in
one?
my like pile of to be released.
Yeah.
Everybody has to be read list. I have
Mhm.
to be released.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was talking to somebody about that because it's so funny. You get these ideas and you start on a project, but then like another idea will take over. And once that idea takes over, it's like this one goes over here. Like, and then you switch computers so much. I've switched
Right.
computers so much. I'm like, thank God for the clouds now, because whether it's a OneDrive or this or that or the other, you can find those old manuscripts because I
Right.
swear I have so many partially written things. That's insane. I'm like, I mean, it makes sense
Girl,
sometimes.
I counted mine not too
Oh,
long ago. 78.
oh,
78. It's ridiculous. It's
what?
ridiculous. And I'm just like, this past, since the pandemic and everything, I've just, because I've had to work through it.
Yeah.
And um, I would just like peck here, peck there, and then I'd be like exhausted and mentally,
Mhm.
physically drained from work. That I'd be like, yeah, no, I can't even focus on this. I need to just like go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. Trust me. I've been there because it's just like, I mean, honestly, over the last like what, 16 months or whatever that we've all been dealing with this, for me, a large part of that, I was like in a state where I couldn't write stuff. And then I went into a
Right.
state where I could write a lot of stuff. And then it was like, wait, I have these things I need to finish. So like right now, I'm trying to finish up a dissertation. So I'm working on something that I'm doing for that for the dissertation. Then I'm working on something that's indie. And it's like, wait, all of a sudden I went from having so much time because I was doing to now I'm like, I need more than 24 hours in a day,
Right.
because it's
Right.
like, and then how do you get that? It's like you steal a few hours from the next day, and that's
Mhm.
something that I want to talk with Heather about later, guys, is her writing routine because, as she hinted to, her, her travels and stuff and her work, we're going to talk about a little bit of that. But before that, I just have to go back and say, I understand being that little kid with the notebook and writing all your stuff and the whole kids are cruel thing. And I
Yes.
swear, man, to anybody out there who is, an aspiring writer or just a creative, kids are cruel, and we all come through it, And look at Heather, myself, and all the other people that I've interviewed on this channel. We all probably had some version of that, depending on how early we started writing. Because I remember, being like that drama kid, like within the drama class, and just being oddly weird.
Yes.
And now that weirdness is paying off for me. So hey, yay
Exactly.
future.
Now we embrace it.
Exactly. I'm like, yay future. Don't worry about it, kiddos. Who's ever watching this, yay future is all I'm saying.
Mhm.
Um, so before we get to that stuff, Heather, tell me why indie? So you had your book of ideas, whatever, you made your way through all of that. Why indie? Did you ever try traditional? I don't think I've ever asked you that question.
I submitted like right after the Amazon contest. I had submitted a couple. Again, it wasn't that story. It was a couple different things to like the major big houses, and of course, you're unrepresented, you're indie. So it's like, no, come back. This needs work. We're not accepting, decline, reject, reject. So then I actually did go with a small publisher for my first 3 books. And I learned a lot. Some good things, some not so good, And but I was thankful for the opportunity. But the good things that I learned were what made me go the indie route, because I made some connections on like editing, cover work, how to actually, put the manuscript together to publish. And I wanted that like independence, to where, because I can't always follow a set schedule. Life, work, and just my own mental. If you tell me something needs to be due on Friday, I'm probably going to drag my feet until Thursday, and that's just me being honest. So, like, I don't do well with deadlines at all whatsoever. And, I wanted more control. And so that's why I chose the indie route. I like the control and the independence, really.
I can understand that. I mean, I think throughout my indie publishing route, of which the last, like, I don't know, 5 years or so have probably been self-published. I mean, I think I did the same thing. I learned a lot from the publishers that I was with. Like you said, some good, some bad. The good is what made me try indie, um, or self-publishing, I should say. But the traditional publishers, the rejections and everything I got there, for all the reasons are what made me go indie. But then the indie publishers that I went with are what made me go into self-publishing. And so it's so weird when you think about how that dynamic goes. But like you, I met so many people who were like, yeah, Angela, just self-publish. I was like, oh, formatting and blah, 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 and blah, 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 and editing and cover art. I didn't want to get into any of it. I just wanted to be the writer. I didn't want to do any of that stuff. And they were like, oh God, there's software and there's this and there's that. And I think, for any of the people who are trying to get into indie publishing or self-publishing right now, it's so much easier than when I started, because I started about 15 years ago. When did you start, Heather?
Maybe about 6.
Okay. So
6
when
or
I
7.
started, yeah, see, so when I started, you said about 15 years ago, we had none of the ease of technology that's out there today. It was like, oh my God. It was like, I feel like I'm 200 years old when I think about it. It seems so archaic when I compare to what we can do now, to the way it was then. So, but it's, I mean, for anybody who's out there thinking about it, it's really not that scary anymore. It's nothing like it was when I first started. No. But let's talk a little bit about that routine, because you said, I mean, it's been 6 years or so, but you said 6 kids. And I know I've met some of your daughters, but I mean, 6 kids. Oh, Lord, 3 kids. I just gave you a whole bunch of other children, Heather.
Yes, you did. Don't put that on me.
It's like, oh my goodness. See, I have no children. I'm like 6 kids instead of 6 years. But I've met, I think, 2 of your daughters, I think.
Yes.
I don't remember, but I think I've met 2 of them. But what was that like? Because you are full-time working mom, and we've got to talk about how you travel so much because of you working, but you are writing, you're a mom, you're full-time working. What is your writing routine? How do you, I mean, you have 78 ideas that you have not finished. I mean, how many books have you actually finished? Like, how do you make it all work?
I have to force myself some days. I try to, even if it's like a paragraph or a page a day, that's progress to whatever I'm working on. My issue sometimes is like I'll be working on one thing and then I'll get an idea and then I'm like, oh, I have to get this down, and I forget about what I'm supposed to be working on, and then I concentrate on the new thing. So I utilize whatever I possibly can to keep me on track. Google Calendar. Before Kasana had her procedure and everything and whatnot, we were like, when I came home from Arizona, we would meet at the library, working around my work schedule. And we would sit at the library and do our best to stay focused, without the little chit chat, side conversations and everything. But we were trying to keep each other accountable on our writing and our progress and everything. And that is very helpful to me because I have that other person that, relates to what I'm doing, that's keeping me on track. That's like, hey, let's get it. Let's write. Let's get this done. Let's get these edits done. We've got work to do. And, when I came back home this summer, I was looking at everything and I was like, if this was my job and this has been my performance on my job, I would have been fired for not being on task, for not being productive. So like I needed to like switch my mindset and not say, this is a hobby, because it's not. I mean, it started as a hobby, but it isn't. It's a business, and I have to treat it as such, and I have to enforce my own self to do my job. So what I do is, right now I pick and choose my work schedule for right now. And so if I work 2 days a week, say I work Sunday, Monday, then, when I'm off on Tuesday and Wednesday will be my editing days, just so I can get in the mindset that like the rest of the week, I'm writing. Like I'm going to edit these days, write these days. And when I'm editing, it's got to be the same book, because I have a TBR. I need to focus on one book that I want to finish and one book that is finished that needs to be editing. So then I'm not really a morning person. So most of my work takes place in the middle of the night. Like I'm much more productive from like 8 o'clock at night until like 4 o'clock in the morning versus like getting up at like 7 a.m. and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do my little errands at 7 a.m., have my coffee, and then I'm going to write. Yeah. No, it's like completely opposite. So the majority of my work is in the evening, nighttime, and like I'll sleep in the mornings and that kind of thing. But like I said, the days that I'm off, if I work a couple days in a row, then like the first 2 off is editing, and then the rest of the week is writing.
Sounds a lot like me, because I have, like, like I said, I don't have as much of a to be written list as you do. Mine is nowhere near 78 books. I'm probably somewhere, around the, like, maybe 7 or 8 books, not 78. But I'm the same way. Like once I have a piece finished, I can edit a second piece. So I can edit that piece and write another piece, but I can't write 2 pieces at the same time. And part of me does it intentionally because I don't want the, I feel like the two pieces, I feel like if I'm right, well, let me say this, if I'm writing in the same genre, I feel like they would be too similar, you know, like I have to get rid of the one thing that I'm writing so that, you know, so I can write something fresh, you know what I mean? Like it
Yes.
feels like it's just going to be, I don't know, like I'm, you know, but if I'm writing like in paranormal, if I'm writing, you know, something like that, and then
Mhm.
writing contemporary, I might be able to do two at the same, but I haven't tried that. I'm normally writing one piece and editing one piece. And
Mhm.
like you, I tend to, I'm such a night owl.
Yes.
It's so bad. I'm like, and I mean, and since I've moved to London, so many, like the majority of my friends are American. So they're in a totally different time zone. So it's really a good thing that I'm a night owl because when I should normally be going to sleep, it's like dinner time for them. You know,
Right.
so I can like be chatting up my friends, like, hey, how are you guys doing? But
Mhm. Mhm.
like when I get up in the morning on a Saturday, I go for a run, I go for a walk, whatever I'm doing, everybody back home is still asleep. And so it's like
Mhm.
perfect for me to like write at night. And then I may crash out, you know, like one or something in the morning, you know, and it's like, because then it's like, I can like talk to people at home and then I can do some writing and then I can crash out. It's like, it makes my day feel like I had more hours in it than it really did. Because like I said earlier, I'm just stealing a few hours from the next day, basically. So
Mhm.
I'm just like,
Mhm.
I'm not a morning person. I never have been. I am not.
No,
Now I can
never.
stay awake. I can completely stay awake till 3, 4, 5, whatever the next morning, but don't wake me up at 4. You're gonna be like, what? Why are we talking at
No,
5 o'clock in
I
the morning?
right. I thought I was going to be productive this morning, right? So last night when I went to bed, I set my alarm for like 6:30 and I was like, "Oh, I'll have coffee early. I'll do a little bit of editing. I'll like clean up and everything and then I'll be ready for Angela." Yeah, 6 o'clock that alarm came. I hit the button. I ain't roll out of bed until like 8:30 this morning. I was like,
As
yeah,
it
no,
should be.
no,
That's
later
how it should
on
be.
this evening, like, because I can't. I can't.
No, no. It's much for me. It's like I don't know what it is, but it's there's something about writing at that time of night for me that is like I don't know. It's awesome. Like the only other time I've been able to really have because like I said, I'm working on this dissertation, so I'll go to like coffee shops or to a library or something, and it's like when I'm outside of my space, like you were saying with you and Cass. If I just leave home and go somewhere and sit in front of my computer, I'm like, I'm about to be a writer today. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I at first I used to think that was weird, but then I recently stumbled across something about Maya Angelou and her writing routine. And she said that she had a room she rented, like it was a hotel room. And so like every day she would leave her home and go to the hotel room and be there for like from like 8 to 2 or something like that. And she'd do this like, I don't know if she did it on the weekends, but at least every weekday she would do it. And then she would leave at 2 o'clock. It was like she had a job, you know, because it was her job, you know. And so then she would leave at 2 o'clock, go home. But then when she went home, she would edit for like an hour or so. I was like, girl, no, if you're gonna do it like that, you be like, when you leave at 2, it should be done. But I got that. I understood that. I'm like, and that's really something that I've been doing lately for like the last couple of months. I would just pack up all my stuff and I would go to a cafe, I would go someplace, and I'm like, I'm gonna go there and write because then, like you said earlier, I'm taking it as my job, you know, and I'm physically putting myself in a different place so I can legit like focus on it and not like lose my focus at all.
And I think too, when you're in a different location, you are less likely to have um, interruptions and disturbances, and you don't get that break in your concentration. You know what I mean? Like my house is a busy house. It's
Mhm.
busier during the day. You know what I mean? And summer especially because
Mhm.
the kids are out of school, so like my grandkids are over here all the time.
Mhm.
So I can't write at home
Mhm.
during the day
Yeah.
because, I have this errand, I have that errand, the kids are coming over, the dogs are barking, this, that, whatever,
Yeah.
somebody needs you to do something for them, whereas if you're somewhere else, you can
Yeah.
just completely disconnect, turn your
Mhm.
phone off, put the music on and just make it happen.
True. Yeah. And it's like, and the thing is, you don't even realize how much time has gone by. It's like you'll
Mhm.
go, you sit down, you set up, you start writing, you pop some grapes in your mouth, you have a sip of tea, then you look up again. But yeah, so it's like, but you don't even realize it. Like I did that one day, and when I looked up, I have been in the library for like, I don't know, something like 5 or 6 hours. And I was like, what? Like, how do you like go in? Like, I'm just gonna stay here for a couple of hours and do a little quick writing. And then I looked up and I was legit there for nearly 6 hours. And it was just because of the research and the writing. And like you said, there were no disturbances. So I mean, I got a lot of work done. And so now that's become my routine. And honestly, for my dissertation, I think I did that like every day for a month. And I was able to get my dissertation draft completed, which is, for us, is not a lot of words, but when it's got so much research on it because of what
Right.
I'm writing, it was so research heavy that I was just like, oh my God, you know what I mean? And so every day for a month, and I got that draft finished, and now I'm working on another part of it. But yeah, I love that idea. So, hey guys, if you're out there looking for a writer routine, I'm gonna co-sign that one because I like that a
Mhm.
lot.
Yeah.
Um, so Heather, now before we start talking about your books, because we have to get to your books, because we need to talk about what you got coming out and all this other stuff. But tell everybody why I picked the wrong job career. Tell them what you do, and how, like, tell us how many countries, how many, well, not even how many countries, but how many places have you been because of your work so everybody can be as jealous as I am. So they know why I'm like hunting, like stalking your Instagram all the time.
So my day job or night job, I should say, because I'm a night shift, I am a registered nurse of 17 years. And for the past 7 years, I have been doing travel nursing.
Mhm.
So I don't have a staff job that I go to regularly. I take positions, contracts, um, mostly outside of my home state. And sometimes they last for like a brief period, 13 weeks, which is 3 months. And sometimes I fall in love with the place and I stay longer, 6 months, a year and a half. I forget that I have a home and a family because I love it so much. And so the beginning of this year, I was in Arizona, and it was actually my second contract in Arizona. The first time I went, I was up in the mountains, and I was very surprised because, of course, I didn't really fully research the location. I just thought, oh, I'm going to the Arizona. It's the desert and it's going to be hot as Hades. And no, it was cold. It rained. There was snow. Like the weather was awful. And here I am, Florida girl, and I'm like, yeah, okay, you're a big dummy. Why didn't you research this town? And so this year when I went, I was in Phoenix. And sometimes I believe that like I have this dark cloud over me that like follows me when I go on these contracts. And I sometimes have like odd weather. So this year in Phoenix, I was there 3.5 months, and it wasn't until like the last 2 weeks that we had like warm weather. And I'm like, oh my God, I just don't need to go to Arizona anymore because the weather was awful. Like you couldn't really do anything. I spent a year and a half in Guam, which
Yeah,
was just beautiful, beautiful. That's where I was, where
yeah.
you messaged
I
me
was
about my
stalking
feet
her. Yeah.
in the
I just like,
sand and everything.
yeah, I was like, what are you doing? When are you gonna leave? You know, but she was just like, I swear, guys, if you go back on her timeline, it's like that's all you saw. It was just sand, water, and a beer. You know, and just like pictures of her feet. I'm like, what? Why? Why am I not there?
It was so beautiful, so fabulous. And I have never met more welcoming
Mm,
people in my life. It was just an amazing, amazing experience. And of course, the island is beautiful. The
mm,
food is delicious, you know. And I live in Florida and we have beaches all over. Yeah, I love Florida. Don't get me wrong, but you know, when you live someplace like that and you come back home, it's like, oh, okay, I don't want to go to the beach. This isn't the beach, you know. And it was fabulous. And then
mm,
last year, at the start of COVID and everything, I had went to a neighboring island of Guam, which is Saipan. And I was there for 6 months. And had I not had family issues to deal with, I would have probably stayed as long as I could there too. Again, just wonderful, wonderful people. The culture. And, you know, when I was in Saipan, it was kind of different because, you know, there were a lot of, I couldn't travel um, you know, because of COVID. So,
mhm,
you know, the airport was completely shut down. There wasn't any
mm.
flights in or off island. So you just had to, I mean,
Yeah.
make the best out of your time on this little, beautiful, fabulous Pacific island. I mean, if you got to be locked down somewhere, Saipan was the place to be. But you know, it was truly, truly both places fabulous, fabulous.
Mhm. I have never even, if somebody said, name this island, I'd be like, what? I would have told them that they were joking. Like, did you mean Japan? I didn't even know that that was a real place.
Yeah,
So that's the
a
beauty
lot
of
of
traveling.
people, a lot of people are like have never heard of it, and
Yeah.
it's a U.S. territory.
Hmm.
And I think we came into possession of it. That sounds so terrible. I hate to
Yeah.
say that, you know, because
Yeah.
it sounds terrible,
Sounds
right?
bad.
You know, um, but like it came under U.S. territory. I think um, right after the Japanese War, like it has some. Um, a lot of war history, the same
Okay.
with Guam as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, so it always makes me feel bad, you
Hmm.
know, especially, you know, when I was there and I was there for some time and, you know, with the people and learning more about the culture and the history. Same thing with Guam. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry for
Hmm.
like what happened. And you know,
Yeah.
you kind of like feel guilty, like,
Yeah.
oh my God, we did that, we took your island away. That's like, oh, that's so bad, but it's so
You know, but
beautiful
that's,
here and I want to stay.
yeah, I mean, but that's a real thing because, like, since I moved to London, I have realized, and you know, and this is for people out there who travel, you probably notice this too, but there are places that you can go and you realize that people won't separate you as an individual from the actions of your country, you
Yes,
know? And so,
yes.
like, I've had whole discussions, is the word that I'm choosing to use, you know, whole discussions with people in Ubers, you know, and just like because people are like, yeah, America is the blah blah blah, and you do, that is something you really do have to be conscious of, you know, when you
Mhm.
travel. because it's just that thing that some people cannot separate you as an individual
No,
from,
no.
from your country. But like you said too, Heather, when I go to some places, I mean, there are places that I want to go that, reason, like really one of the reasons of my hesitation is, how Americans, or how, I would be perceived if I went to some of those places. So, it's like, how can I go to those places, in a conscious, safe manner,
Right,
But yeah.
right.
hmm But I still
Yeah.
love traveling. It's not very much that's going to stop me. I'm just going to go to different
Oh,
places.
no, not at
Yeah.
all. Like, I really wished that, like, when I was in Saipan, again, you can't really do anything about it because it was the whole COVID and
hmm
everything. So, but I was so, because there's other islands that are in the chain of the Marianas. In addition to like Guam and Saipan, there's Rhoda and Tinia, and I think two others, I'm forgetting the names. But I would have really wanted to go over and explore the neighboring islands. Couldn't even do that, even though, like, that would be technically similar to like traveling to like the next state, but you
Yeah.
couldn't even take a charter boat over. So I was kind of, sad about that. And I would have
Mhm.
loved to go back to Japan, because I went for a week when I was in Guam. And, but a week wasn't really enough in Tokyo to like
Mhm.
explore and to do different things. So I would love to go back there, but gotta
Well,
wait a little bit.
Heather, we're gonna put that on our list. We're gonna do Tokyo together. Tokyo has been on my list for so many years. So guys, I'm trying to get Heather to do some writing with me. We're gonna put Tokyo on
Yes,
our list. When we go to
yes,
Tokyo, that's when we can really get it. Because I swear that Japan in general, I've been to Hong Kong, which is China, and I've been to places like India and stuff like that. But I would love, 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 love to get to Japan. I've just heard so many great things about it, and when you talk about Japan, it's like, how can you not go to Tokyo?
yes,
So I
yes.
mean, yeah,
It was
gotta
a
go.
great experience. The food is just, and I've just started tasting and enjoying sushi. So I didn't even have it when I was in Tokyo because at that point I had never tried it. But, let me tell you, the ramen was great. The gyoza was just fabulous. I ate that every day. And you could go into the gas station and like purchase this food and everything. It would be like walking into like our 7-Eleven,
Mhm.
and normally you're like, no, I'm not eating that. That's gas station food. It's terrible.
Exactly.
I had some of the best food out of like the little gas stations and the corner stores. It was just insane,
See,
insane.
that's what I'm
So
saying. That's
it
why we
was,
have to get there. We're gonna put that on our list. We can go
yeah,
together. Oh, we should get like some of our other friends who write and stuff. We'll just make it a thing and have
yeah,
it be like a writer's escape to Japan. But I
yeah.
totally would love to go to Tokyo. That would be an amazing trip. And that leads me to another question. Have any of your trips been turned into one of your books so far?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I
Oh.
I have some stories that I've outlined. And I'm gonna do this series. I've already like started it, and Bali is on the list for the series. And when I was in Guam, I actually went to Bali for 2 weeks. It was the first time I've ever gone out of the country entirely by myself. When I
Mm,
went to Tokyo, I was with a couple other nurses that I worked with, and so it wasn't a solo trip,
mhm.
but Bali was completely solo. Um, it was fabulous. I was terrified at first, and my kids, my youngest daughter actually thought that I was just going to sit in a hotel room for the entire 2 weeks. And, then she started seeing Instagram pics and, I went to Monkey Forest and, all these different temples and everything. And she was like, I am so shocked. I thought you were just going to be like watching TV. And I was like, why in the world would I just, it's Bali. I'm going
Yeah.
all over the place. I'm seeing all the things. But, and so I have a story for Bali, and I actually have one for Guam too. That I wanted to, incorporate the culture and everything and like some of the history into it. But I think I have planned 5 books for that series. It probably honestly won't come out this year. It'll probably be next year sometime. But I'm calling it 2 weeks to love. So basically, the story takes place over a period of 2 weeks and involves different locations, Bali and Guam for certain. And I'm thinking about a couple of other places, but haven't really put anything out there yet.
Hey, look, that's what I'm saying. We're gonna chat about this off camera, Heather, because
Mhm.
we're gonna make all this happen because I have like so many things that I've wanted to do around travel. And I talked about this when I interviewed Olivia Gaines as well, is that, the more I travel, the more I see how much we're all so similar and but the differences are just really cool, amazing differences that can be used, in a way to like really show how similar we are. Like those differences, enhance that, I guess. But we'll have to chat about that. But so let's talk about your book some more. How many books do you have, Heather?
I have 13 published, a bunch to release, and actually my next release, I'm probably going to upload it tonight on Amazon. Um, so hopefully it'll be available by tomorrow morning sometime. We'll see. But it's actually going to be like my first official release in 2 years. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Hey, let me
So
tell you.
I'm happy and I'm like kind of terrified too because I'm like it feels like you're starting all over again.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? And you have to like make yourself relevant again and that kind of thing and like pray that it doesn't get slaughtered and
yeah,
hopefully everybody
yeah,
likes it.
yeah.
But that's going to be, I had started it some time ago. And of course, like I said, COVID really affected my creativity, like so many other people.
Mm-hmm.
There were
Yeah,
some people that were able to tap into it
yeah, I
and,
wasn't. Yeah.
put out all kinds of things. I know Olivia is one of those people. She
Mm-hmm.
put out crazy books in like the past year and a half. But then there's me. I'm like, yeah, no, I haven't did anything since the last time I saw you. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so I started this one some time ago. So it's like it's it's old, but there's some updates to it. And of course, it's never been released, so it's new to everyone else. It's one of my older books for me. And so I have that one. That's Grecian Storm, and it takes place in Greece. I like to pick places that like I want to visit. So hopefully like when I go and visit, I would love to go to Greece next year. Um, so when I go to visit, I hope that how I describe the place is like true, and I'll be like, oh, I nailed this. This is exactly what it looks like, and that kind of thing. So I have that one coming out, and then I think I have one, two, three. I have 3 more planned that are done. This is what I've been doing. So, I've been editing. So I have 3 more that'll be coming out soon after I publish Grecian Storm. Then I'll do the other 3.
See, you and like Sage Young, every time I talk to her, she's like, yeah, I'm working on this, I'm trying to get this out and that out. I'm like, you're exhausting me. It's like listening to her. And the thing is like you, well, not like you, because I don't have 78, but I do have, so I have one book that is finished, that I have to just take through edits, and I'm planning for it to be out in the fall. I have another book that I'm just finishing with the writing of it, and and then I plan to have, originally it was supposed to be out in August, and today we all see,
Mm-hmm.
no, it's not happening. But but it's coming. It's coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's percolating. I'm trying to finish it. But blame it on the dissertation brain. I haven't been
I
able to
was
do
just
anything
going to
else.
say, you have a dissertation. That is very important.
It's very important. And I have not been able to get to my indie stuff because I've been working on, and which is really, and I work, so between like work and dissertation, I haven't made enough space for indie. But as soon as that dissertation is, as soon as it hits that portal, as soon as it's delivered to my professor, it's all about the rest of my life again,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I can completely understand you having 3 books that you are going to release after this new release. So are you going to do like a rapid release with those books? Are they part of a series, or are they going to just come out over the next like 6 months or so?
No, I'm hoping to put them out within like the next 2 months, all 3 of them.
Mhm.
They're just standalones. They're not part of a series. I do have a series I started a while back. It's actually finished. I just have to give it like one more once over with edits. But I was actually thinking about releasing that on Vela,
Mm,
because we have this new thing called Vela out now.
yeah.
And I do have a story for that as well. I just have to, go. I haven't touched it too much with the editing, and have to figure out how I want to, break it down and everything for that platform,
Yeah.
because you released it a little bit. I don't know if you've researched it and that kind of
Just a
thing.
little bit, yeah. And I saw Pepper Pace just released a piece
Mm-hmm.
through Vela. So yeah, I've been hovering around it to see, because Amazon always has something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure yet. Let me know what you think about it.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely will. I have to figure out how to break it down, because the, the way it works is you release episodes, kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, say Grey's Anatomy, or,
Mm-hmm.
How to Get Away with Murder. You have these little, sections, and you
Mm-hmm.
tune in next week to catch the next episode and that kind of thing. So I'm not really sure how to like break down chapters into like the episodes. Like, where is your cutoff? Do you leave
Yeah.
them hanging? Do you give them something like complete? So I have to look into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
And,
See,
you know,
we need to do a shout out to Pepper. Hey, Pepper Pace,
hey,
tell us how to do it.
right. Give us a
It's
quick
like, well,
411.
it's like, right? We have a question for you, Pepper. We'll do a shout out to Pepper, see what she can tell us.
Exactly.
Because yeah,
Exactly.
I think hers may have come out. It might have been this month where the first episode of hers came out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So so we'll have to chat her up and see. And but before we get to those again, tell us a little bit about Grecian. What is it? Grecian Storm. What is it
Grecian
about?
Storm. So there's this gentleman, he goes by Raiden, you know, Lord Raiden, God Raiden. Okay. So he is his father recently passed, and he's very suspicious of his father's death. Um, because also his brother was basically worked up over by a man on an island, a businessman. His name is Ray's. So Ray's inherited his father's olive business, but he was a hothead, and he likes money. So he started dipping into some other trades, which, links back to Raiden and his family. But so Ray's visits Raiden and, basically forces his hand into doing two jobs for him. One is to kill off his wife, Storm. So Storm is an American who was approached by Ray's, her final year at college, right as she was, graduating with her art degree. So, she didn't have any family, and she fell hard for him because he kind of charmed her way into his life and, treated her to all these things. And she didn't have any family, no close friends to be like, hey, you really need to watch this guy. Not all good things are good, Anywho, so she leaves with him, she marries him, everything's fine. So maybe about 5 years ago, she started seeing him for the evil person that he is. Unfortunately, she can't leave because she has no money. She's a kept woman. She has no money, no family, no friends, so what is she going to do? So Raiden and Storm come together. They meet each other. He, of course, has no intention on doing the job that he's hired to do, but they become close. And, I don't want to give everything away. They become close, and
we totally can't give it all away, because then what? No, there's no incentive to buy.
Right,
But
exactly.
it's like,
But they become close, and things become very hairy, and a few people do die in the book. And I'm not going to tell you what happens with Storm and Raiden.
it's like a few people do die.
A few people die. I
Well,
blow up a yacht.
okay.
The
I like
yacht
it.
blows up. Some people die. And
That's always so
but
wild
there's a happily ever after for Storm.
for Storm.
For Storm.
Well,
For Storm.
dang. For Storm.
For Storm.
Well, what about
Maybe
Raiden?
Raiden.
I mean,
Maybe
I'm
Raiden.
just asking for the
Maybe
person who's
Raiden.
watching. What about for Raiden? But I mean, but that's the thing.
Raiden.
Whenever I read books like that, because even like and I always mention this one with Phoenix Daniels when I read her first book, Beautiful Prey. Because like she ended it, you didn't know like if the this one particular character, for those who haven't read it, you didn't know if this one particular character was going to live or die, and I was just like, I literally was like, she did not just do that to me, but that one is a series. And
Yes.
and I only just started writing series. I don't, but that's literally one reason why I don't like to read series until like 5 books are out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like I finished that book and I was legitimately like, Phoenix, why would you do that? I was like, I was reading along like all of the readers, all happy in the book, like la da dee, la da da. Problems are solved, things are, like they need to be. My hero and my heroine, I'm all happy. And then that final scene, I was like, well, no, she did not. So now I'm wondering about your book, Heather.
It
Now
is
I want to know.
it's a standalone. It ends
Okay.
appropriately, no cliffhanger.
No cliffhanger,
No
standalone.
cliffhanger, standalone. But I don't
All
want to
right.
tell you all the details.
Well,
And,
I'm
you
just
know,
saying I have to prepare my reader self,
mhm.
for disappointments and and
No,
sadness.
no disappointments. It
When
ends appropriately, no cliffhanger.
she says
There's some
appropriately,
surprises
people,
throughout and everything, but Storm lives, rain doesn't kill her.
it's like, hmm, he doesn't kill her, but did somebody else
Mhm,
try to kill her?
mhm,
See, guys.
mhm,
I mean, you can read through these
mhm.
lines. You can read through her
Yeah,
silence over here. But anyway, we can all get this book next week. So by the time you guys
yeah,
see this, that book will be out. So if you have not purchased it, I'm gonna need you guys to all hop over to Amazon and do your little
mhm.
one click. All right. And also, so that you can keep up with it, Heather, let's tell everybody all your social media so they can keep up with you and know when these other three books are going to come out and when this one is going to be like, ready for them.
Yes. So, Facebook is probably the best place to
Okay.
find me because that is where I'm most comfortable. And my user on Facebook is heather.ray.brassart, Brassart. Instagram, I am Heather Ray Books. And my website is heatherrayb.com. And some of my books, I'm not even going to lie, I'm going to be completely honest and transparent. I don't have all of my books listed on my website because I am in the process of revamping it because my bio was out of date. Special shout out to Miss Olivia for her workshop in IREA this past year, and she taught us how to write a 15-second elevator speech. So I'm in the process of revamping my bio everywhere. But yeah, um, the website is up. I just haven't linked my last three books to it. It's such a process, though.
It is. I mean, but
Such a
that's the
process.
thing. As indie writers, we talk about it all the time. You are not just a writer. It's like you said earlier, Heather, it's a business. You are a business.
Yes.
And it's like,
Yes.
and we forget about that so much because we're so much about the writing, but all the other pieces have to be kept current so that the
Yes.
reader can actually find you, know what you're doing, because yeah, we have to keep it up. So Heather, when
I
you're on
know.
that beach, when you're on
I
that beach,
know. I know.
update that
I
website
know.
when you're on the beach. Daggone it.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's probably when I'll do it is like next month because when I leave, I have to quarantine in Hawaii for 2 weeks. And then once
Wow.
I arrive in the Marshall Islands, I have to quarantine for another 2 weeks. So I will be holed up in a hotel room for a month. So, like, there will be no excuse.
My God, to quarantine in Hawaii for 2 weeks sounds
Yeah.
so painful because I would so
I
want to
know,
be out
right?
in Hawaii. That's
Yes.
just not even fair.
But like I actually like looked at the place because they told me where we would be staying and everything. I looked at the place and it's beautiful and has a beautiful view. And I'm like, well, I guess I'll just have to enjoy my time in Hawaii behind glass. At least I'll
Heather, do
have
you have
something
a
pretty to
balcony?
look at. There's balconies, yes.
Okay.
But I think you're not allowed to go out on them, honestly. Yeah.
Really? But it's
Yeah.
fresh air. It's a balcony.
I know. Right? I know. But it's the Marshall Islands that I'm going to, and like not too many
Oh,
people get to go there. So,
yeah. I don't know. All I can say is it sounds like you are going to have some fabulous moments in front of you over the
yes,
next couple of months.
yes, I
Fabulous.
think so too.
I'm
It'll
excited
be
for you.
fun. I'm excited too.
And it's like, and like I said, we're gonna have to figure it out because I'm down for Tokyo. You
Oh, yeah.
know, I'm
Yes.
like, I'm so down. We're gonna figure this out. But
Hmm.
all right, guys, for everybody out there in YouTube world and podcast land, this is Angela K. Austin, and I have been chatting with my girl over here, Miss Heather Ray, who is leaving us for yet another beautiful week. Meanwhile, in London, what's the temperature today? I don't know. I went to two beaches here in London. One was filled with pebbles, like literally pebbles, like rocks. And the other one was like the sand was so hot it was insanity, and the water was cold.
Oh,
So I am just sitting
I
here
want
like,
to go
oh,
there.
Heather.
I want to go to all the beaches.
Oh, no. I'm gonna have to find some beaches that are actually like those beaches that like I see in my head. But the ones I've been to so far, no. That one, I can't remember which one it was, but it was legitimately a pebble beach. It was tons of little rocks, and I was just like, what do you do with that? I don't know what to do with that. Just like, what do you do with that? Somebody out there, if you've been to a pebble beach and enjoyed it, like you spread out on the beach and enjoyed it, make a comment. Let me know. Tell me how to deal with that, and I will do it the next time. But in the meantime, Heather Ray has a book coming out called Grecian Storm. Make sure you guys pick it up. Follow her on Facebook, IG, and check out her website. She'll have it updated for you guys in about a month. So check it out. And to everybody out there, thank you so much for listening, for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Heather Ray, thank you for joining me, madam.
Thank you for having me. It was so good to see you.
It was. I mean, honestly, guys, I feel like sometimes I haven't seen people in so long, and I didn't make the last IRAE. So it's so good to see you, Joe. Did you go to the last IRAE?
I did.
Yeah, because you're in Florida. Yeah. I figured you were there. Oh, well.
And are they coming to next year's?
Yeah. I'll be at the next one. It's just this one I didn't get a chance because with all of COVID and everything, and I just wanted to take some extra precautions and stuff, and with travel and travel restrictions from London and whatnot, I just didn't take the chance. But next year I'll see you guys.
Yes, I can't wait.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching and listening. See y'all next time.
See ya.